Here we go.
Hey everybody, we're back again, second month. The That's Good Enough podcast with your hosts, Paul Tyson
John,
and Jeff.
and Jeff Rowe.
also Tyson's.
Also Tyson's. Yes. Hey, so welcome back, guys. How are you guys doing?
Excellent.
Can't thank you enough for all the time. It's been great. Sorry, Jeff, what were you gonna say?
I think
Solid
that's the
start.
right way.
Solid start as usual. Yeah.
As usual.
Pretty good for a Sunday night.
I'll tell you what. So Jeff, you and I are just coming off of just one of those old traditional days where we go up there and we get the kid list of chores to do at mom and dad's. And I don't know, man, we had fun with it. I thought it was a blast. It was shortened because I ended up coming down back here because I had plans. Jeff had a full weekend, so you ended up staying the night. But spending, even the drive up, you know what I mean? It's right when the colors are changing. John, I know you're probably, licking your chops a little bit when you saw some of those pictures or, the video.
Lovely. Yeah.
But it was one of those things where, like, you just all of a sudden I'm like, yep, I was listening to some Johnny Cash on the way up to mom and dad's, and we took the Ranger out, we took the four-wheeler out, we cut down trees, we cut up wood, we didn't split wood, but we stacked and hauled wood and cut a tree down. It was a blast.
Yep. Typical Tyson family bonding. We hated it when we were kids, but now we love it. Then we're grown up. It's like, let's go do some work. And that's how you bond, right?
Yeah, I was very jealous to see the pictures and to look at, what you guys were doing and then seeing the celebration afterwards. Yeah, when we were kids, man, we could not despise it more. And then, like, looking at it now is like, oh man, I wish I would have gotten to do that. That would have been cool.
Yeah.
So that actually leads me to my first question that I have for you guys. And it kind of, it evolves around that whole idea of, like, now looking back, and I know everybody talks about this, like, oh, now I regret that I didn't enjoy it more. And we hear all this stuff about the happiness equation where you're like, no, be happy first, be happy now, and then, you know what I mean? But it's crazy because the whole time I was there, because I was jonesing for this weekend. It was awesome. It was a fun weekend. In fact, I thought, like I said, maybe it was a little too short, but I mean, I was like I would love to bale hay again. You know what I mean? Jeff and I were stacking wood and we were crossing it and doing this. And I'm like, God, I'd love to bale a load of hay or something like that. And so do you guys ever feel like that nostalgic? Do you have any examples of that?
Well, I would start by saying that the Thrasher, when you guys were a part of the thrashing that our dad and Al's generation did, and they took those pictures, and to us, it was like, well, we get it, but kind of we didn't have a connection to it, where now I think that would be our version of the thrashing picture, to do bale hay, hand bales.
Yeah. I don't know. It's funny how, how life can get more complicated. Sometimes you're like, how I liked it when it was a little bit more simple.
Absolutely. And less complicated, right? It's like, okay, you've got a goal. We had to take a tree down because it was going to hit dad's shed. Tree's down. Okay, we got to cut it up, put it away. And the sense of accomplishment you get from something like that, that's
right?
A lot more simple than a complex corporate agreement that you need to finalize for work or for something else where it's,
Or you need 5 other people that you have to collaborate with. And guess what? The 5th one doesn't hold up their end of the bargain, or is a pain in the butt, or just as,
right.
And I know, you got to do hard things there too, but it's like a simpler time sometimes. And maybe this is just me getting old, but I'm like, I like even that, like, I'm not going to have that beer, Dad, until I finish stacking this wood, like, and then we get done with it. Then I don't know. It seems like
the practicality of it too, like we had to have it to heat the house. That was like it was kind of like, kind of fun, but like you had to do it. Or, I mean, we have the perspective of looking back nostalgically, but for Dad, it probably was like, God, if I can't get my kids to get this done,
how are you going to do it? he had 5 other jobs, right? He needed us to,
It was a necessity.
Yeah. But I will say that even though when we were younger, I remember still like loving to bale hay. Like I loved like, all right, we're gonna go over to the Muskies and help them split wood. You know what I mean? And the banter of it almost got me excited. So I always kind of had FOMO for that too. So I enjoyed it then, but now it's like now I even miss it more because we just don't do it on a regular basis, right?
Yeah, looking back to old times. Yeah.
It's almost like forced family fun, I mean, that was our way of bonding, and that's what like I'm the most proud of growing up, and you didn't know it at the time, but all of those jobs, events, celebrations of it were just huge part of us growing up and building our character and social skills. I mean, dealing with all of the nuances of that, but it really gave us a foundation of hard work hard, play hard. That's the Midwest way.
Yeah, but I think there's another piece to this that we're very fortunate, and I think we see it now that we've married into other families. It's just the uniqueness of how close family was to us, right? Like, I mean, literally, the Muskies. I mean, we'd get together every Sunday, watch football. We watched football, and normally Saturday we were cutting wood with Grandpa or something like that. We were doing those things, and so that's, if there's one compliment that we get quite a bit here in Rosemont, I know you guys must too, is that, oh wow, you're really close to your siblings, you're really close to your family, your family is kind of your unit. You know what I mean? Where like there was a lot of people down at the Iowa State had their big family week this week, and there's a number of families that we know, and they all got together. But it's like when we do it like almost every weekend. Like today we had the Petoniacs over, and we had Madison's whole family over. I mean, that's what you do for football games, right? And so I don't know, maybe we take it for granted a little bit, but do you guys hear that from other people?
Oh, absolutely. From all of my friends and Lisa and all anybody that's close to me, that's the number one thing they bring up is, I just can't believe how close you are with your siblings, etc. And how much time you guys spend together. It's like, really? You really want to do that?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I kind of really want to do that.
Well, and I get that even out here in California, as we're Zooming, we're texting, or even the game today, it's like, what about that play? And the fact that I'm watching Vikings football in California, decades after I left, is for that connection. And people ask about that and learn about that and comment on it. It's like, that's pretty cool.
Well, and there was a new one of the girls, one of Madison's sisters, brought her boyfriend over for the first time, never been part of the thing. And so it's end of second quarter, everybody's putting their shoes on, and he kind of looks around and he goes, where's everybody going? The game, there's the whole second half of the game. And they're like, yeah, it's halftime. We go outside and we play football. And so, of course, we, went out and threw the football around. Jordan and Madison got in on it. And otherwise, that's what we do.
I did it today. Sure. I grabbed the football. It was halftime. No one else was watching the game in my house. I'm like, all right, let's go. And everyone's looking at me like, what? 5 heads on your head. Still in there.
Yeah. And as long as, the texting back and forth, though, it also reminded me of it was not a good game for the people that are listening to this, the millions of people that are listening to this podcast right now. But the Sam Hill comment. In fact, I put Sam Hell, thinking that actually I thought that's what it was. I thought it was Sam Hell. No, it's Sam Hill. And then I don't know if that was a joke, Jeff, that you saw that Wikipedia, or what was that?
Well, it's partly, I brought it up a couple of times before, and because, where we grew up, Stearns County, it's good Catholic tradition to parents have to find different ways of saying swear words, right? And so one of the go-tos, Dad's was son of a butch, and Mom's was what in the Sam Hill is going on here. And so it was funny because I'd always bring it up to my wife, and when I would do that, it made me think about it a little bit more. And I thought, okay, is it really how did she really say Sam Hill or did she say Sam Hill? And then we were up there and she said it, what in the Sam Hill? And I said, I looked at my wife and I said, there it is. There's the Sam Hill comment. So then when you brought it up today, it said, you know what? I wanted to go look it up. So I finally looked it up, and yes, it's referenced in Wikipedia. It's what in the Sam Hill, and it really means what you would think it would mean. So, or how mom used it. So she was using it correct.
Yeah.
Correctly.
That's funny. It was like 1843. The reference comes from. Yeah.
Yeah. That's how old mom is. Back in 1843.
Right.
Anyway,
for
and then
Pete's sake, I still want to know who Pete is.
There you go. That's the next one. Google
Pete,
it.
And what was his issue? Yeah.
Poor Pete.
Damn Pete.
Black Pete. Pete's sake.
Black Pete. Yeah. People didn't know that. That's a Catholic thing, right?
That's dark. Yeah.
It is Catholic.
Oh,
yes.
Gosh, it sounds like a Catholic thing. Guilt, fear. I mean, it's like
healthy dose of Catholic guilt.
Not to get religious on this thing, but oh my gosh.
Did you go to church today?
Drove right by one and visited one. We did a college visit at Concordia today.
With Emma?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. She had a camp there, and then we did a little tour. But yeah, just a fun weekend though in Minnesota. And this is John. I mean, you'd be Jones and totally. This is my favorite time of year.
It looked like nice fall weather. It's changing.
Yep. Leaves are changing. It's starting. I mean, it rained a ton last night. I don't know, Jeff, if you got a ton, but we got literally a ton of rain. But
2.5 inches.
There you go, Dad.
2.5 inches, and the boat, I had to you drain the bilge on the boat because I don't cover the fishing boat, so it was full of water. So
oh wow,
yeah, that was interesting. Yeah, it was still floating, so that's good.
So are we going to talk about that debacle of a game today, or what?
Yeah, let's do that. No.
They were commenting though. I mean, have you guys noticed that in the last? I mean, for me, it's the last 3 years, but every NFL game seems to come down to the last seconds now. The blowouts of the past, I mean, they happen, but it seems to be more and more games are right down to the last seconds.
Well, the game after ours, the Chiefs Bears, that was 41-10. That's the old fashioned blowout that we would, you know what I mean? But You're so right, Jeff. I mean, even last year, you know what I mean? Half of those games that we won just in the final drive, and by 1 or 2 points. And so they're just not going our way this year at all. But starting the season,
I haven't watched
at all.
Past.
0-3 at all.
0-3.
And I haven't watched in the past. The one thing that I noticed that's really apparent is man, the timing is so tight on every play. Our defense, which is
so fast,
coming along, looks like they're about to it's what used to look like when they would swarm the backfield. I'm like, okay, this is sack. No, get the soup pass goes out 25 yards, all the time. That's happened all 3 games where they just miss, and then but the secondary isn't getting burned, but they will just be off a little bit. The timing's so on that they complete the pass. It's I'm not used to that. That's really, the game is really,
the speed of the game is way fast. Yeah, definitely.
Well, and it's so funny too, because you'll sit there and say, God, Kirk Cousins isn't having a good game and everything like that. And then they do that camera view where you're almost in the quarterback's pocket, so you can see kind of the field the way he sees it. And I'm telling you, you're like, holy crap, he throws it in the tightest little windows, and it's still, and I'm like, actually, he's playing pretty freaking great. And his stats at the end of the game were still 475 yards. Was it 3 touchdowns? I mean, it was
stats.
And I know some of that always looks good, but he's still being older. It's a young man's game, man. I'm telling you, this Mahomes, he's got 2 Super Bowls. He's only 28, I think.
Paul, I know you watched it, but John, did you watch The Quarterback yet on Netflix?
Yeah, every episode.
New respect for him.
I'll tell you, that episode, that series is what kind of got me back in to come back.
Yeah. To watch football.
Yeah, to watch football again.
Because
and Mahomes was great. And even Kirk Cousins is like, oh, okay, now I understand the way you are, why you are the way you are. And we'll always kind of complain behind the scenes. And it is really good to get a perspective, a little wider perspective lens.
Yeah, they did a really good job of that. They were talking about this Herbert that we just played against is going to be on next year's rendition, I guess, or something like that. He's a young guy. He's already accepted to it. But it's like it does give you a good perspective, like, how many times he's getting hit, the soreness, the pain, and some of the things that you knew was happening, but you just never saw it, that close and up front, personal. Right. It was well done for sure.
Yeah.
So John, so just for the listener, obviously that isn't, aware of the situation. So John, you got back in it, meaning you bought the NFL ticket because you live in LA, you don't get the game on. So you bought the NFL ticket. It's so funny you say that, because literally a friend of mine was like, he goes, oh, we should get together and go biking on Sunday. I go, well, no, they got the Vikings game. He goes, I finally gave up on the Vikings. I don't watch the Vikings. He goes, my life has been, he goes, that serves me more. And I totally get it, but there's so much more than that. Like, we lost today and I still had an unbelievable game because we had company over. We had sausage. We had, I got 3 different types of sausage from the meat market and brought it back. Fed all these people. They had dip. They had all kinds of Mexican food too that, nobody ate. And then, but I'm like, so it's not just about, whether the Vikings are going to go to the Super Bowl, right? You know what I mean? It's tradition. It's so much of that, kind of what we're getting back to.
Right? It's experience. Being with family, checking it out. I'm finally past the point where, we'd be depressed if the game was a bad game. Those days where it's a different mentality, a different mindset. We're watching the game. Yeah, you want to win, but you can see beyond, trying to control something you can't control, it's like pretty stupid.
For sure.
Yeah, it was still a great game. I mean, it was right. They were in it all the way to the end. And even last week, it was like, it's just the turnovers.
9 turnovers in three games. They've had 9 turnovers.
Unbelievable. We finally got one though today. That was cool. We got one.
Did we?
Yeah. We they fumbled one, or we created fumble once. Yeah.
That ratio has to change. If that ratio changes, there's still a chance. Because, I don't know. I know the Lions have a loss, but it'll be interesting to see. Once again, this is one of the things that I think also brings us close. It's just our love for football. You know what I mean? And the game.
For sure.
So, kind of a sidebar on that. Do you guys watch the Wrexham stuff at all? Welcome to Wrexham.
I have not. What is that?
It's so Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney, who Rob McElhenney is the Sunny in Philadelphia guy. He started that, and he's one of the head guys, writers, actors in it. Those two bought a soccer team in Wales called the Wrexham, and they've done this documentary. And the first year is on it's on Hulu. The first year they did it, and it was unbelievable. They bought it for like 2.5 million and redid their thing. I mean, soccer there is football here. It's the number one sport. It's, in the world, it's number one everywhere but the US, right? But it's crazy how I've watched soccer now.
Because of that.
Oh, first of all, it's a really good documentary. It's a really good documentary. I've taken this kind of has-been team. It's one of the oldest teams in well, they call it football. And then now they're doing a season 2. And they've taken this, Haight-Ashbury kind of club that hasn't won. They moved up into a different league last year. And now they're at this, because they have different levels of leagues to play soccer in. And all of a sudden now it's this rags to riches. And it's kind of all around this idea of this town of Wrexham. And so it's actually really kind of cool. But, we always laughed at, soccer. We didn't even have a soccer team at our high school. Now it's like, I'm watching a ton of soccer.
So it's like the Ted Lasso reality show.
I mean, it really is. And of course, Jason Sudeikis has been to a game. Will Ferrell's been to a game. The Bendit, like Beckham guy or whatever, was at a game. Yeah.
Nice.
That's cool. Yeah, it's soccer and football. it's we call it American football. Max calls what we call football American football. Like
I'm so sorry, John. I should have turned this subject over to you a long time ago. You're a coach. You're a soccer coach.
I'm a soccer coach. Yeah, like 2 years now. Like Max is into it, so we're learning a lot about it, and it's just fun. It's just cool. So we started watching games, and we watched the World Cup last year, and now with Messi joining American football, American soccer. So
we got Messi
joined up. We're watching some games, and yeah, he gets into that. He won't watch American football, but he'll watch football.
Gotcha.
Well, it's definitely growing in popularity, and it's definitely improving in America. The popularity of soccer it's starting to grow. Yeah, I mean, we have a team we should go see. We have an awesome stadium right here, and
the stadium is awesome.
Yeah, the stadium's great.
I've been to our soccer stadium twice. One to watch the Tommy football game, and the other one was to do the stairs for the American Lung Association.
Yeah,
that tells
I've
you
only been to one, and that was the Tommy American football game.
Right, for sure.
And who won?
Johnny's, yeah.
Johnny's.
That was fun. That was a great game. What's that?
That was the last one.
That was Johnny's.
Johnny's are good. They won this weekend. They beat a good team. I think they're 2-1 right now. They had a tough loss.
Who's coaching these days?
Gary Fashing. He was a head football coach at Concordia when the three of us were going through. Oh, by the way, there's news that way this week too, John. I don't know if you heard this, but Billy Style passed away.
I saw that.
Yeah. So Jeff and I were talking old school stories about Billy this weekend.
Did you see the video I sent on Facebook? Did you guys see that yet?
No.
They did a special on him back in 2009, kind of like Minnesota Heroes or whatever, Quiet Heroes or something like that. And so it must be a cousin, Brad Style, graduated with me at Ricori, and he posted it out there. And it's all about him, the history of wrestling, and being, always being involved with the wrestling team. Delogier's on there. Awesome quotes. Go check it out. It's a really good homage to Billy.
Oh, I'll definitely check it out. Is there any clips? Are we in any of it?
No, it's more of it's the 2009 team, and it's just what he was doing with them. They didn't have any old pictures other than Billy graduating in like 83, and didn't even know this, but he was on the wrestling team, and he was good and involved and back then, and then he just kept with it the whole way. I didn't even know the whole history. So
wow, really that's awesome.
It was a good clip.
He and Delozier, the head coach, literally would take him. He traveled with the coaches. That was always a really cool deal. Yeah, for sure. Interesting. Yep.
He was the manager. He was a team manager. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Well, this is our second one. We still haven't had a guest. I think next month. Who wants to start with the guest?
Not it.
John, you're the oldest. John, you bring a guest. So I will help you set it up, and we will have our first guest next month.
All right.
Does that sound like a plan?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thank you. That was a quick 30 minutes. I'm going to hit stop recording, and then we can chat.
And talk stuff.
Talk shop. All right. See you guys. Take care.
All right. Later.